This is your next best step. I'm Coach Janet J, and I am glad you're here. Today, we are looking at a very specific summer tired, the kind that doesn't match anything you actually did. This one might explain a little more than you expect. You meant to cook a real dinner tonight, and then you stood at the stove, looked at everything you would have to chop and stir, and then thought about the time and made scrambled eggs instead, because the real dinner suddenly felt like climbing a mountain. You didn't do that much today, so why are you this depleted? There is a physical reason your brain runs out of gas on a day you barely moved, and it has nothing to do with willpower. Here's the day I mean. Nothing on the calendar. No workout, no big project, no crisis. You ran a couple of errands, you answered a couple of texts, you figured out lunch and then dinner. You kept half an eye on whoever was home, and by evening you are wrung out like a dish rag, looking around going, what did I even do today? Summer makes this worse, and it hides the cause. The heat sits on you. The routine that usually carries you is on vacation. The house is louder, more people, more comings and goings. In my case, a renovation that does not know it's summer, and underneath all of it, a steady drip of tiny decisions. Who needs a ride? What is for dinner? Again. Is the sunscreen packed? What is that noise? None of it is heavy on its own. Together, it adds up to a day that looks empty on paper and feels full in your body. So, when the tiredness shows up and there's no obvious reason for it, the self-judgment shows up right behind it. I didn't do anything. I have no excuse to be this tired. Let's take that apart because the science here is kind and the verse is kinder. Isaiah wrote this to people who were worn down to nothing. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. That's Isaiah 40, verse 29. Notice who the verse is for: the weary, the weak, the ones running on empty. That is exactly who God is speaking to here. Strength is the thing God gives to them, and power is the thing He increases in them. You receive it. You do not have to manufacture it first. He comes to the weary as they are, and the strength arrives when you are still tired. Here's what's happening in your head, and it is real. A research team at the Paris Brain Institute, led by Antonius Wiehler and Matthias Pessalone, had people spend more than 6 hours on demanding mental work, the kind that requires constant focus and self-control. By the end of the day, the hard-thinking group had built up more of a chemical called glutamate in the lateral prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain that handles focus, planning, and self-control. The more of that chemical buildup, the harder that part of the brain has to work in order to do the same job. And the people in that group started leaning toward the easy option, the short-term reward, the low-effort choice, the scrambled eggs instead of the dinner they planned, the quick yes instead of the careful no. Their brains were steering them toward whatever took the least effort because the effort system itself was already taxed. You may have heard the phrase decision fatigue, the idea that willpower is a fuel tank that runs empty. That tidy version did not hold up when large teams tried to repeat the original studies. The sturdier finding is simpler. Sustained mental effort has a real, measurable cost in the brain. And a summer day with nothing on it is often full of exactly that kind of effort. Deciding, switching, tracking, filtering out heat and noise and screens. Your body didn't move much, but your brain never clocked out. So if you have been blaming yourself for being tired on a day that looked easy on paper, you can set that down. The fatigue is real and it has a source, and it says nothing about your character. Let me connect this across the whole of you because it touches everything. Mental, that foggy, why can I not think feeling, and the drift toward the easiest choice comes from a control center that has been working hard all day. The fog is what hours of mental effort feels like from the inside. Emotional, the second layer of tired is the judgment you pile on top. I have no reason to feel this way. That story is its own weight. Setting it down lightens the actual load you carry into the evening. Physical, the summer compounders are real and worth naming plainly. Heat raises your baseline strain. Sleep gets shorter and lighter when the evenings are bright and the house is warm. And mild dehydration alone can read as fatigue. Your body is a part of this conversation. Spiritual, Isaiah 40:29 again. Strength for the weary is given. So the invitation is to bring the depletion into the open to God and to the people who love you, and to receive strength rather than grind out on your own. So here is your next best step, and it's pretty clean action. Name the invisible work. Tonight, when that wrung out feeling shows up after a day that looked like nothing, name the one thing your brain actually did that never made it onto any to-do list. The dozen small decisions about dinner. The mental tab you kept open on everyone in the house. The noise you filtered out all afternoon so you could think straight. Name it out loud or just to yourself. That was real work. That's the whole step. You are making the hidden work visible. And once you can see it, the question shifts from, why am I so tired for no reason, to, there was a reason and I have been carrying it all day. The self-blame loses its footing. So, the short version, a day that looks empty can still work your brain hard, and that work has a real cost. Isaiah 40:29 promises strength to the weary, and the weary are exactly who God means. Your step tonight, name one piece of invisible work you did today so that your tiredness has a reason attached to it. On Wednesday, we're tackling the great summer stuff explosion. The beach towels, the water bottles, the sandals that seem to multiply by the back door. Follow or subscribe wherever you are listening or watching so you don't miss it. I will see you Wednesday. Take your next best step.